Hi Laura, I'm Robert. I'm here to kind of like help you walk through a we call it biopsychosocial form. It's a long attachment form. There's going to be a lot of yes or no questions, and maybe I'll ask like for like just some details about some of the topics. But other than that, this is our way of really just trying to understand you in the best way possible in a short amount of time. And so some things to expect is that, I'll ask a little bit about your background. I'll ask about some of your experiences. And as we kind of like move forward through this document, there's no right or wrong answers. It's just a way of me trying to understand you and your background and kind of how we can help make a baseline for treatment moving forward. So anything that you say as a part of informed consent, anything that you say is completely confidential. We are here to support you and your privacy. And anything you share with me will be kept between us. And then, as we'll mention some parts, but like the only other things that would be mandatory reporting um, are for like intention to harm self, intention to harm others, or any other things that may come up that I'll be required by our state law to report. But for majority of this, it will be kept between you and me and in our confidentiality. So
Okay.
would you agree to that?
Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay. So Laura, what brings you in today? What's kind of going on right now?
Um, I would say the main concern right now is just my sluggish state, just kind of fatigued and not really motivated, and it's just hard to get motivated, and um I'm not as active as I used to be.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, my husband kind of has noticed it, just not up doing house chores like I used to, not maintaining things as well, kind of letting things slide. And yeah, just concerned, that maybe there's something there that I need to talk to you about.
Yeah, totally. What is something that happened that caused this?
I don't really know. I mean, I've gone through some life changes recently. We've
Hmm.
moved to a new rural environment from the city
Hmm.
last May, so it's been, like half a year or so. Um, we're in this new rural environment. It's not in the city. We're out in the country. Um, we're around a bunch of cows are
Hmm.
surrounding us, and I don't know, it's just like I'm not close to my neighbors, so I'm just trying to find a church environment. We have family here, so that's supported though. So
Hmm.
maybe it's the transition. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well possibly. Like those are definitely things that can help contribute to change of behavior. Um, what are some of the things that you hope for to achieve from counseling?
Um, Kind of like just to get back to my old self, like
Hmm.
just I don't know, this house is so big compared to our old one, so like it's just kind of overwhelming, all the
Hmm.
responsibilities, the chores. We live on like 5 acres, so it's a lot of maintaining, and I like to do this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
That's why we moved here, but it just, I don't know. It's just kind of like, where do I start?
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of the feeling that can happen, especially at this time of year. Depending on where you live and what you're prepping for the winter, there's a lot to that can kind of happen on a property.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
I
How do
guess
you?
the indoor environment, like you mentioned, it's like, okay, like now I'm gonna be indoors and I have to clean my house.
Yeah, yeah. All of a sudden, you're kind of like noticing things a
Uh,
lot more. Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. How do you usually handle stressors or cope with the problems that you've described?
Um, I would say I kind of like channel in a outlet. Sometimes I like watch some shows. I don't know, I could kind of binge on some TV series, documentaries on things. I kind of like
Hmm.
doing that kind of stuff. Um, I can, I've kind of channeled a lot of it, like spiritually, like my Bible app. I'm doing like a Bible recap
Hmm.
thing and reading the Bible right now and like halfway through it. So it could be a distraction
Hmm.
or, for my schoolwork or my job. And sometimes I just like channel it and do a lot of that. Um, I would say that's mostly my outlet.
Yeah. 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 Doing some of those things can definitely help us distract what we're feeling and what's presently going on by kind of giving us a mental task to do, or even just watching shows or binging just to kind of relax what we're feeling a little bit and have some entertainment. What
Yeah.
was your household like growing up? Who was in your household?
So I'm the oldest of three kids, and I have a brother 6 years younger than me, and a younger sister that's a year and a half younger than me, and a father and mother. I'm not adopted. We're all biological children, and yeah.
And what was life like for you in the home?
Um, I would say stable, typical, heartland, kind of growing up, stable, conservative family. Um, had the suburb neighborhood,
Hmm.
uh, friends, and yeah, it was just pretty stable.
Hmm. Were there did you move often, or does it sounds like you stayed in that home?
Right. So I was born in Nebraska. I moved, oh, it was maybe like two or three. I don't remember, obviously, to Kansas. And then in the middle of second grade, I moved from Kansas to Minnesota. And I lived there up through college. I went to college in Wisconsin, and then I went to my graduate college in Kansas. And then now I live in Oklahoma.
Okay.
But it's mostly my dad's job. Like he got transferred and
Okay. So you kind of moved with your dad's work.
yeah.
And did you get along with your family?
Yeah, for the most part. I think growing up, definitely, in Kansas, my sister and I were like best friends playing outside. It was fun. Moving to Minnesota was kind of a shock though, because we moved in the middle of winter and it was just like blizzard snow conditions. I had to
Hmm.
walk to school, so it was, I don't know, at that age, I was just kind of a shock to the system and seeing, the
Hmm.
snow and the amounts of snow and everything and having to meet new friends. But I think my sister and I mean, we were friends until like teenage years. I think not so much. We were kind of the opposites, so we
Hmm.
had different interests. I wasn't, I mean, I was kind of close, not very close to my parents, I would say. I mean, it's more just like general conversations, not really deep conversations
Hmm.
growing up. We took family vacations, but um, not a huge emotional attachment for sure to my parents. Nothing like that.
Hmm. Okay. And then were there any incidents of harm during childhood?
No.
No.
I mean, I got spankings every once in a while, but that was normal, typical.
That would be normal in your family as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, I mean, how would you describe your adult relationships with your parents or your siblings?
I say we get along very well right
Hmm.
now. My mom and I sometimes conflict on things, but genuinely love one another and we are able to have differences but still,
Hmm.
get along. And I my parents are very supportive of me and everything I do. So
Hmm. And are they near you now in Oklahoma?
no, they are in Arizona and Minnesota. They have two
Okay.
homes. Mhm.
Okay. And so what was the move to Oklahoma?
So the move to Oklahoma happened, I think, in my graduate degree in Kansas. I got a job offer in Oklahoma, so I moved down here, and also an ex-boyfriend mostly lived
Hmm.
down here, so I was kind of following him.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And let's see. We're going to stick with the childhood family right now, move on to current family, but what are two of your earliest childhood memories?
I would say being outside in Kansas, my sister and I would, and my neighbors, I was like best friends with the house next door. They had five girls, and we would like
Mm-hmm.
pull wagons up and down the sidewalk and just like put stuffed animals in them. And it was just a nice, sunny, um, fun environment with friends.
Hmm.
And another one, I would say, well, when I moved in the middle of second grade, I guess like being walking to school in the snowstorm was just like, ugh, and like going to a school that I didn't know anyone and a new
Hmm.
teacher in the middle of second grade. So it was like, it was just kind of shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, that I would imagine that would be shocking moving in the middle of second grade, going from sunny, pulling wagons, neighborhood friends, super close with those girls, and then having to walk to school in a snowstorm.
Yeah, it wasn't
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah. So, and then you mentioned that Minnesota was majority of your education then for primary learning. So what was school like for you there?
It was, I guess I would say I was like mostly involved in sports. All through high school. I was involved, middle school, high school. I was always in basketball, softball, volleyball, something, always revolving around activities. Same my brother and sister. And I guess just the typical school environment and tried to do well in school.
Hmm.
And I just kind of focused on school. I guess I would say maybe sometimes more than other people. I would just like study a lot, and that was kind of like my outlet just to channel my energy into getting good grades.
Hmm. Yeah. And then how did you do socially then?
Socially, I had a few close friends. I would say not so much when I moved right away. Um, but I got to know my neighbors a little bit. My sister was friends with the girl next door that was her age, so I would kind of like hang out with them a little bit
Hmm.
up through like middle school, and then middle school, I don't know, just the typical. I didn't really get close per se to anyone. I mean, maybe you had some just friends in the neighborhood, I'd hang out with on a weekend or something, and then, but nothing
Hmm.
like really close. And then high
Hmm.
school, I had a couple of close friends. But then I got a boyfriend like what is it, my junior year, a serious one, and then those friends kind of dwindled off a little bit.
Hmm.
So I was more so serious with my boyfriend the junior year and senior year.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And then you mentioned you have a current cultural influence or spirituality influence in your family. What was that like growing up?
Um, it's a typical American holidays. I do have like my grandma speaks um Danish, so we kind of have during Christmas time they like she has some traditions like singing New Harvey again around the Christmas tree, dancing
Mm,
around it, having formal like supper, elbow skewers, Medista pulse sort of thing. And but not that's pretty much the only cultural.
Hmm. And was that in Kansas typically? Was your grandmother in Kansas then?
She's in Iowa. They have a farm.
Okay.
My dad grew up on a farm in Iowa, and so we kind of
Okay.
all go to her place around the holidays.
Gotcha. Okay. And then so you did that when you were in Kansas and in Minnesota?
Yeah, like pretty
Okay.
much all my life, and I still kind of
Yeah.
do go back to
Yeah.
her place on the holidays.
Good. That's
Yeah.
great. And then um so you mentioned that you were the closest to your sister growing up, and that if I remember you said that she's a year younger than you.
Hmm.
Less, yeah. And then you do have a brother that's less than 6 years.
Hmm.
What was your relationship like with your brother?
Not very close. I would say when I reflect back on our relationship, it's more of like a babysitting sort of a role.
Hmm.
I would say I remember changing his diapers
Hmm.
quite a few
Hmm.
times. I remember like just entertaining him, wrestling around with him.
Hmm.
But as I grew older, since we were 6 years apart, I went off to college and he was still in middle school. So,
Hmm.
like, I didn't get to see his high school sports. He was in hockey and things like that. So, I kind of missed out there.
Hmm. Yep. And so who is in your family now? So your current family environment.
Hmm. I would say I have a husband and I have one son, and he's 15 years old. And we all three live in this house.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit about your living situation. You mentioned rural, you mentioned big home, you've moved there in like less than a year for about a year now. Um, yeah, describe that a little more for me.
I would say so we were in a suburb and it was just getting really busy, traffic wise, just getting anywhere. And we just kind of wanted like a little bit of peacefulness. I like going to my grandma's farm, and my husband grew up from around this area, so he's used to the small town. And he
Mhm.
kind of just wanted to come back and just have more of a relaxed life, maybe start a small business.
Mhm.
His hopes were. So we moved, um, yeah, and came across this house and we love it. It's, just a lot of work, a lot of repairs, a lot of, um, we've had a lot of, just things we've had surprises, things that we've had to do at this house that we weren't, necessarily aware of when we bought
Mhm.
it. So it's just kind of a little bit overwhelming.
Mhm. Yeah. And then, but you feel safe. The environment is safe and supportive.
Yeah, like it's very peaceful. And I
Mhm.
think that's definitely the whole reason we came here. And so
Mhm.
it's worth it. I know it is. It's just a transition.
Yeah. Um, what's your relationship like with each family member?
My husband and I are close, very close. We've been together for 15 years. And then my son, I haven't been together. We've been married for 15 years. I knew him
Mhm.
for, I would say, like 5 years before we got married.
Mhm.
And I'm emotionally close with him. We share everything. So strong there. My son and I, he's a teenager, so he's
Mhm.
getting to the teenage phase. My son and I, we've gone to counseling together just to kind of like work on things and um our relationship. And my husband has gone in with sessions too, just to, help him feel comfortable. So we've worked through some things there.
Mhm. And then how do you feel overall about that experience?
Um, I think it was helpful. It put things into light, to communicate more of on an emotional basis and try to realize that for him it's okay and normal to, let us know your concerns or whatever. It was just a safe
Mhm.
place for him to kind of channel, especially with the move, from his other school, the big school, to a very small school.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to make sure that transition was as comfortable as could be for him,
Yeah, yeah,
because he's a sophomore in school now. He
you're a
started his
sophomore right now.
sophomore year. Yeah.
Okay, so he experienced this change at the end of his freshman year.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay,
We moved right after he graduated his freshman year. Yeah.
okay. And just really quick, just for our records, for relationships, what is your sexual orientation?
I am attracted to my husband and
Hmm.
heterosexual.
Okay. And your first romantic relationship, was that when you were a junior in high school?
Yeah, I guess in my sophomore year, I kind of dated, I think the most was like a month. So I
Hmm.
had a few relationships, off and on, nothing too serious. And then my first, major boyfriend was my junior year. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I was with him for a long time. I would say like 7 years. I was through college.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what was that change like? Dating someone for 7 years, starting the junior year, and then ending that.
Um, it was, I mean, it was a very up and down relationship, I would say. He cheated on me pretty much the entire time and I didn't know it. So getting
Hmm.
out of that relationship I kind of met my husband. So it was like a pretty quick transition. Out of it. I knew I didn't want to stay with my ex-boyfriend, but I was still there. It was just a unhealthy relationship, so I
Hmm.
just kind of jumped into another one, and that was my husband. So I don't know, it was just kind of a quick transition, but it
Hmm.
worked out for the better. I'm glad I did get out of it.
Yeah, yeah, sounds like it. Um, yeah, yeah, I mean, you mentioned, cheated on. Were any other part of the relationship abusive?
No, no abuse.
No. And so you're currently married, 15 years. Um, what about relationships that are not family centered? You're close with your family. What about your social support right now?
I would say I'm probably closest with my sister-in-law that lives by here now. Um, and I have a women's like Bible study group that we go to. She's the head of it like once a month, so I have some friends there that I am getting to know a little bit more since I moved down here, and we're starting to like hang out a little bit. We took like a girls' weekend trip this last weekend. And then my husband's family is around here. His mom moved down here. Not per se very close with her, but um and then what else? His Meemaw lives there, and then his uncle and his girlfriend. So we have family around.
Yeah. And so you probably see a lot of his family during holidays and
Mhm.
special gatherings quite frequently.
Yeah, more so like social gatherings. I'll have like fish fries or
Hmm.
um, you know, making usually some sort of event, or sometimes just come over here and help us out with some chores or something there.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Would you say that your current social support is what you need?
I would say I'm working on it. I want to get like a couple more solid relationships down here. I'm close to my sister-in-law, but still working on finding some close friends.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, okay, so we're moving on to abuse and trauma. Have you ever experienced any abuse, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, or sexual?
No.
Okay.
I would say maybe some like emotional neglect growing up. Didn't really talk about
Hmm.
our emotions very much. I don't there was
Hmm.
no like abusive, like shaming, anything like that going on.
Hmm.
Just not so much talking about feelings, I would say.
Hmm. And then, have you ever sought help before? Counseling help, professional
Um,
help?
I did as like a couple of years ago as an adult, just kind of working through relationship, husband and I issues, and it kind of it turned into like personal slash couples counseling, and yeah, I mean it was just I think it was just kind of like a transition sort of a thing. I was laid off from my job, and um I don't know. There's just kind of like the ups and downs of the relationship at that point, and
Hmm.
we've worked through quite a bit to stabilize and have a healthy marriage.
Hmm. Yeah. What were kind of like your symptoms of going into treatment at that time? What were you kind of feeling as you
Um,
approached counseling?
I think it was definitely anxiety. I
Hmm.
did some, um, well, my husband did EMDR, and I decided to do it after he did it, so it like really helped with my anxiety.
Hmm.
And then I've also done neurofeedback that has helped with like my ADHD and helped with symptoms there. Uh,
Hmm.
mhm.
And then, okay, so do you feel like that counseling intervention helped with those symptomologies, or do you feel like any of those have currently carried on currently?
I think all of them have helped. I think maybe like the fatigue and everything going on right now isn't necessarily my ADHD. I think it's more just like I don't know, might be a little bit more of like a adjustment to moving, maybe. I don't
Hmm.
know, transitioning, just, but I mean, it's like I know how to handle my anxiety and not be overwhelmed because I've done the
Hmm.
EMDR, but just kind of like the carelessness of it, just like, oh, I'll get to that later or something, it's just like,
Okay. So it sounds like that the carelessness is a new and different feeling.
yeah, I think that's kind of happened with the whole transition of the house.
Okay. Okay. And have you ever witnessed anything that you would consider traumatic?
Uh, hmm. Wow, I don't think I really have, fortunately. I can't think of anything in particular.
How about a loss? Have you ever experienced a grief or a loss that's significant to you?
Um, let's see, my grandpa, he passed away like in February, so and then my other grandparents, my granddaddy and granny passed away. I'd say like 7, 8 years ago. Um, but I wasn't particularly very close with them. I knew them, every 4 or 5 years I'd see them when I was little.
Mm.
But yeah.
Explain what was significant about your grandpa passing away. Will you explain his relationship with you?
I would say so he lives in the farm in Iowa, or lived in the farm in Iowa. So he
Mhm.
was, I would say just like the relationship with him, he was just a really
Mhm.
good grandpa. He would like take us out for ice cream, and
Mhm.
he was just loving, I don't know, but he was very farm oriented, like, just
Mhm.
we would gather as a family, and like I would say like my sorry, I'm getting emotional.
It's
It's coming
okay.
up.
It's
but
fine.
yeah, and I miss them, but yeah, it was a good environment, but it's just been a lot since I moved and everything, and just like dealing with that at the beforehand, and so, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a significant loss, Laura.
yeah,
And
it was.
yeah, and then just that coupled with the moving and the transitions, it
Yeah,
it it would be a significant amount to process. And so
okay.
um, your feelings are valid.
Thank
And
you.
so thank you for being honest and for sharing them with me. Okay. We'll keep moving on, but you let me know when you feel ready.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready. Thank you for
Okay. Yeah.
comforting me.
Yeah, of course. What was your highest level of education?
I would say, well, as right now, I mean, I had a master's degree in accounting and finance, but now it's working on counseling, master's degree.
Okay. Working on a master's degree in counseling. And what was like post high school education like for you? Doing undergrad and masters, and what was that environment like?
It was, I mean, was close with my roommates, and we, I don't know, I was studying a lot because the degrees were pretty intense. So
Hmm.
it was just a lot of studying. Um, and yeah, I just remember studying a lot.
Hmm. Yeah. And so then what was your job history like in pursuit of those careers?
Um, I would say it transitioned pretty well. I had a couple of internships, so it was just kind of a natural transition going into my job in Oklahoma, in an accounting job. And then I worked at a couple of different accounting jobs. I found out one wasn't really for me, so then I went into a different like sector.
Hmm.
But honestly, it was pretty stable. There was a couple of layoffs though, that I went through. So that was kind of hard, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'm right now, I'm just kind of doing my own consulting work in it, which
Hmm.
I enjoy and like.
Okay, good. So you're enjoying your consulting work, and it's still same framework of like accounting, finance related, the consulting,
Yeah, it's accounting.
accounting. Mhm.
Hmm.
And how do you feel about your employment status of having your own practice?
It's um it's like initiating and comforting to like do my own stuff, but
Mhm.
still help them out and get them fulfill a need that they need. Um, I enjoy it. It's kind of like it's very flexible, so I enjoy the flexibility, but yet the pretty stable deadlines and predictability of it.
Mhm. And so any other additional information about education or employment that you feel like you'd like to share?
Um, I think we pretty much covered all
Okay.
my jobs and education.
Okay. Good. For substances, how do you drink alcohol?
Uh, Not recently, no. Not as much, but I would say like maybe one or two drinks every other weekend, maybe. I don't know, not very often.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I mean, I would usually put that in as like a zero almost, as you don't drink it for that infrequently. Is that typical? Is that common for you, or when did that change?
I would say it's typical. I mean, growing up, I think around like 17, I may have drank socially with friends and, drank too much probably in certain instances. Um, but that was only like a few times. So I've kind of grown out of that. And in my college years, I didn't drink very heavily, even though I did drink, every once in
Hmm.
a while at parties and stuff, but not as much as like high school, I would say.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Okay, and then any other form of substance use?
No,
Okay. Any any issues related with pain medication or any of those related substances?
no,
No. And what about your family? Have you ever had any family members growing up with substance use?
no, no. Colony. I mean, um, my husband, his mother and father are pretty much father addicted to alcohol and mother addicted to pain medication.
Okay. And what about your husband? Has he any substance use background?
One time, yeah, pain medication because his back issues, but he was detoxed from that and hasn't had any issues since.
Okay. Okay. And let's see. Um, what about your teenage son? Any instance of
Um,
substances?
no, knock
Okay.
on wood.
Right. Right.
Knock on wood. Not that I know
Yeah.
of.
Not that you know of. I mean, it can happen at any age now. Okay.
Mhm.
Anything else that's substance related that you feel like would be necessary information?
No.
Okay. And then tell me about your legal history. Have you ever been arrested?
Yeah. So in high school, I got a minor in possession of alcohol. I was at a party
Okay.
and it was a college party. I was in high school and yeah, it was just that one time though, and learned my lesson. And yeah, I don't think I really drank heavily after that going forward. And I don't even know if I
Hmm.
drank at all in high school after that. Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
did drink, but just not, I was just better at hiding it.
Were you, yeah, yeah, right. Were you, what was that moment like? Were you handcuffed? Were you arrested?
Yes, I was
Yeah,
arrested and got,
handcuffed.
I had to go through like a class and pay a fine, and that was pretty much it. I did have to sit out in softball. I think that was probably the hardest part,
Hmm.
was telling my softball team that, yeah, and then I had to sit out for the rest of the season. So that stunk.
Yeah. Okay. So you're not currently on parole or probation. Your charges were just minor possession. And this has any effect on your any legal issue with work or vocation
Mm,
or family?
no, nothing
Okay.
on the record.
Okay. Nothing. And it's currently on record or not on record?
Oh no, it's not on
Okay.
record, I guess.
Okay.
It's just no record.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So you're arrested, minor possession, but you did the coursework and paid the fine,
Mhm.
but it's not on your record. Okay.
Right.
Any past or current medical diagnosis or concerns that I should be aware of?
I would say ADHD was kind of like overworked for a while, and I think I didn't really notice it though until adulthood. And looking back at my childhood, I probably did have it, was undiagnosed, not misdiagnosed.
Hmm.
And I kind of figured it out when I was working a very heavy financial reporting deadline job. I was working a lot of hours, and a doctor diagnosed me, just a regular doctor.
Hmm.
But since even when I went in for intake and neurofeedback, they were like, I would not diagnose you as ADHD. So like
Hmm.
I don't know if I was just like misdiagnosed from the doctor beforehand. But they said that I do have like some symptoms, and then obviously at the end of intake, they're like, no, you don't have ADHD, but like just working on some symptoms. So yeah,
Yeah. So how do you feel about those results?
I am satisfied with them. I think it has helped me to be able to concentrate on something,
Hmm.
and not be anxious while doing that.
Hmm.
Um, So I think it's been beneficial.
Would you say that you need further clarity as far as ADHD diagnosis, or
No,
are you not interested in assessments?
um, I don't know. Maybe we can go over the ADHD and maybe like the moving thing to see if they're related or
Hmm.
anything. I have no idea. You'd have to tell me. I don't know but it could be, I don't know. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
related.
Yeah. Well, it's more of like asking of like gauging your interest in how much do you need to know about your ADHD? Some people don't care and they're just like, well, it's a part of my life or it's normal for me. And it's like, I don't need to know. Some people are like, I kind of need to have clarification of like diagnosis. And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of sounds like you have like mixed messages,
Mm-hmm.
potential misdiagnosed is like kind of like what you said. And so it's more of like just it's not required for moving forward, but I was just mostly asking to kind of like hear your openness as far as what do you feel like you need.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I'm comfortable in knowing that I don't think I have ADHD. I just think that I have some symptoms that I'm working on and I've worked through. And there's always room for growth, I guess. So
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you for asking.
yeah, of course. Um, and so do you take any current medications?
Um, let's see. I take Restasis for my eyes because of allergies. That's
Hmm.
about it.
Hmm.
Dry eyes, but no, nothing ADHD, no medication, anything
Okay.
like that. Just all natural, trying to
Okay.
anything.
And any current medical concerns?
Don't think nothing currently.
And do any of these So do you feel like you experience any medical issue or like any chronic pain or anything that affects your daily life?
No.
Okay. Um, spiritual thoughts or beliefs. Do you have any? And if so, what are they?
Um, Jesus is king. Um, yeah, that's sums it up.
Okay. Yeah. Christianity based.
No.
Any denominational background?
Lutheran growing up, kind of non-denominational now. Trying out churches around here still. Not we do church online, non-denominational church. We aren't trying out churches, so just yeah,
Hmm. Online church is a great resource just to be able to like see the flavor and kind of like a culture as far as like how they present it and the teaching style. So it's a useful tool.
yeah,
And I mean, you mentioned Jesus is King as your response. So pretty significant part of your life.
yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah.
the core of who I am for sure.
Hmm. You mentioned daily Bible apps. Like, what else does your spiritual life look like?
Um, I would say it involves just community daily prayer with family. Personal prayer, pray a lot during the day. Once a month, meeting with a women's fellowship, like I
Mhm.
said. Church community. My son goes to youth group every Wednesday. I don't know, it's just really inclusive, integrated sort of environment.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like it. And let's see. Do you have any previous experience with the religious community that you would like to share?
No, I think
Maybe like you're, you're in a looking for a church community now, you want to kind of want to
mhm.
grow your circles. Like, do you have a previous experience where it's like this was a really positive spiritual religious community?
Yeah, I think back in our the larger city that we lived in, we had a church that we were involved in, and I volunteered doing accounting work in every other week. So we were pretty plugged in, and we enjoy that church. So that's the one we do online now if we
Hmm.
aren't trying out churches around here. So, but I know like being around here, there's limited options.
Hmm.
But we living in Oklahoma, there are lots of small churches. It's just,
Hmm.
like walking in and trying them out is definitely going to be noticed.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. It's harder to slide in, and especially when
Mhm.
they do some. I don't know if your churches would do this, but they'd always have the greeting time. Okay, stand up and say hi to someone you don't know, and it's when you're the only new person,
Awkward.
and the whole church swarms at you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I can relate with that feeling.
Yeah.
Um, and just wanted to just do a check-in on do you have any thoughts of suicide or harm of self to others at all?
No.
Um, have you ever had any previous thoughts or intent of harm of self or others?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Do you have any access to drugs or weapons?
We have a couple of guns in the house for protection, but they're in locked cases and
Okay. Okay. So no past experience of self-harm, burning, cutting, carving.
no,
Okay. Any struggles with an eating disorder?
no.
Okay. And you mentioned a few past experiences of mental and emotional health counseling sessions.
Mhm.
Um, and so when was the last time that you went in for treatment for mental health?
Um, I would say it was a couple of months ago. I finished the neurofeedback, and involved with the neurofeedback was like some CBT sort of, it had to go with it. The neurofeedback sessions.
Okay. And that was related with anxiety, correct?
We talked about anxiety, yeah. Um, but it is more like the neurofeedback symptoms, but yeah.
Okay. And then um, have you ever been prescribed medication for
For
treatment?
the ADHD, that was from the doctor that originally diagnosed me.
Okay.
And I got off of the medication during neurofeedback, and I haven't taken it since.
Okay. And so you went off of ADHD medication when you finished your neurofeedback, and that's been a few months ago. Any withdrawal symptoms of that?
No, it took a few days and it was just a little sluggish, but that wasn't,
Hmm.
I mean, it went away pretty quickly after a few days.
Okay. And currently on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being lowest of your low feeling, 10 being not depressed at all, how would you rate your depression?
I would say maybe a 4.
Okay, a 4. And then for anxiety, on a scale of 0 to 10, um, 0 being not anxious at all, 10 being highly anxious, how would you rate yourself?
I would say more like a 2.
Okay,
Pretty
so you're
manageable with anxiety.
so yeah, you're not feeling a lot of anxiety right now. Okay,
No.
okay. Well, I think we're gonna take a break and pause here, and we kind of have enough information to kind of get going, and then we'll continue in our next session. Is there anything else you'd like to add, just as far as we've talked about recently?
No, thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and review this, and then we'll just kind of put it in, and we'll follow up with the treatment planning, and then we'll just kind of go from there. And really appreciate your honesty and your feedback and our time together. So thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Robert.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, you did a really good job. You seemed really comfortable flowing through the questions,
Oh,
and they were
thanks.
very nicely, no pauses. It was just like natural. I really appreciated you attending to my feelings
Mm-hmm.
with my grandpa. So thank you
Mm-hmm.
for that. You made it pretty smooth to move on. I would say the body language seemed really comfortable. You're pretty relaxed and kind of just like follow cue, mirroring in certain respects. I liked how you like attended to certain things, especially like my grandpa, just like saying like, okay, like comforting me, I would say. And you're also like very aware of like the things I did say for like ADHD, depression, anxiety, and attending on a scale and getting a base mark of that to
Mm-hmm.
see if you need further assessment. Um, I thought that was very responsible to attend to those. Um, uh, yeah, the areas of growth, honestly, I don't really, I mean, I don't really know, to be honest. Let me look at the behavioral stuff. I think you've had a lot of practice doing this before, so I think it was naturally flowing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to uh I mean, I don't know, to be honest. I really think you attended very well. I
Okay.
really can't pinpoint anything. If you can think of something, let me know, but
Well, I shot myself in the foot. There was an early time where I said good, and I was like doing
oh,
I was doing
there you
moral
go.
qualifying, and it's just such an easy thing.
I didn't even notice, but yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're very aware of that.
I think I did it. I think I did it like a few times, and it was like family environments or something. And I was just like, it's like, oh yeah, there it is. But I
Yeah,
mean, no, I mean you were obviously really transparent and open, and and so it was comfortable doing the role play with you as well. So
yeah.
yeah, thank you.
I felt in a very safe and comforted environment, so it was easy to do that.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'll
All
go
right.
ahead and stop